Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
This is Garrett Williamson. Thank you so much for joining us today. I always like to remind you at the beginning that if you're interested in getting in touch with the show, leaving your comments or questions, or if you have an idea for a topic, if there's something that you'd like to know more about or have figured out for you as far as health, fitness, especially if it's something that you've heard conflicting opinions about, because it's one of the reasons why we created the podcast was basically to dispel all the myths, and boy, there are a lot of them, but all the myths in health, fitness, and wellness. But to reach the show, you can contact us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE, E-D-G-E. Please call us and leave your comment, question, idea for the show, your name, and also where you're calling from. You can also reach me on my Twitter account, at Team PE. Also on my email address at Garrett, G-A-R-R-E-T-T, at personaledgefitness.com. That's Garrett like Levi Garrett. That's our website too, personaledgefitness.com, and our Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness. Now, something that we're going to talk about today it happens every year. It's extremely popular. I'm surprised I haven't spoken about it already. We have this situation coming up soon enough, and that is resolutions. This happens every January 1. Now, I don't think I'm letting any kind of big cat out of the bag. This is when a lot of gyms, of course, sell memberships. They've all got all kinds of specials going on because everybody's making those New Year's resolutions. And believe it or not, the fitness and wellness, losing weight or being fit, it used to be number 2. I was doing some research on this. I usually start off with the definition when I'm in my shows, no matter what I'm talking about, but this time I'm going to give you some background on not only resolutions, but also some kind of interesting calendar facts, kind of where all this came from. Making a change health-wise used to be the number 2 resolution. In fact, it was right behind getting organized. What's interesting now, and I guess it's because of the increase in obesity or people wanting to live longer, and I really have to attribute to the increase in obesity, it is now, according to Inc. magazine, it's claimed the top 3 spots. The top 3 spots in order: number 1 is to diet or eat healthier. Number 2 is to exercise more. And number 3 is to lose weight. You can see how important this has become because it used to be losing weight and that was number 2. But now there's so many people talking about these other 3 that it's the top 3 resolutions. I'll tell you some interesting calendar facts. I was kind of curious where this whole resolution thing started because I don't think it started with the obesity epidemic. And I thought about it. These are problems that we have all the time. But why do we do it January 1? What's the significance? So I'm going to take you down a little interesting history lessons. The custom of making New Year's resolutions, it's been around for thousands of years. It didn't just start recently, but it hadn't, of course, looked the way it does today. The ancient Babylonians are said to have been the first people to make New Year's resolutions, and this was some 4,000 years ago. They were also the first to hold recorded celebrations in honor of the new year, which I thought kind of fascinating. Though for them, the year began not in January, it actually began in March, mid-March, and this is when the crops were planted. And so that's where they kind of got their calendar year. During a massive 12-day religious festival known as Akitu, the Babylonians crowned a new king or reaffirmed their loyalty to the reigning king. They also made promises to their gods to pay their debts and return any objects they had borrowed. And these promises could be considered basically the first forerunners of New Year's resolutions. A similar practice occurred in ancient Rome. After the reform-minded emperor Julius Caesar, all of us know who he was, tinkered with the calendar and established January 1 is the beginning of the new year, and somewhere around 46 BC. January is named for Janus, a two-faced god whose spirit inhabited doorways and arches. Now, January had a special significance for the Romans, believing that Janus symbolically looked backwards into the previous year and ahead into the future. The Romans offered sacrifices to the deity and made promises of good conduct for the coming year. Yet again, a New Year's resolution. Now, for early Christians, the first day of the new year became the traditional occasion for thinking about one's past mistakes and resolving to do and be better in the future. In fact, in 1740, the English clergyman John Wesley, who's the founder of Methodism, the modern-day Methodist Church, created the Covenant Renewal Service, most commonly held on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, also known as watch night services. Now, these included readings from scriptures and hymn singing and served as a spiritual alternative to the raucous celebrations normally held to celebrate the coming of the new year. Thank the Lord that that's dissipated. And, it's interesting about this. I look at the ancient Greeks and the Babylonians. I don't see a whole lot of sparkly things being dropped. They're not observing a peach drop or a ball drop, or you would think maybe like a Greek stone being dropped or something like that. We're not seeing any of that, which is kind of interesting. Despite the tradition's religious roots, New Year's resolutions today are mostly secular in practice, of course. I mean, if we're talking about improving ourselves or cleaning up our debts or getting organized or whatever, they're basically secular. But how do we do with New Year's resolutions? I know that's what everybody's interested in. And of course, it's the reason I'm having this podcast is how do we do? According to the research, 60% of people admit to making resolutions. Now, I'm surprised about that. I would think that it would be a higher number. I'm surprised only 60%. I would bet when they were calling people on the phone and asking them this, there were maybe only 60% that actually admitted to making resolutions. I think a lot more than that admit. I appreciate the honesty with which the people that were asked said that they followed through. Now, Pablo, of the 60%, what is the percentage of people do you think stated they actually follow through on their resolutions?
Actually followed through on their resolutions,
Yes.
I would say 15, 20%.
What I like about you.
Because we're all hopeful, but then reality kicks in, and
I like your confidence in your fellow man. I mean, I have to applaud that because believe it or not.
I'm a realist.
No, actually, you're not because only 8%.
What?
That's what I'm saying, man. You're actually supporting and have faith in your fellow man. So only 8% say they actually follow through, which is kind of funny.
And now a little more of that has died.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. We'll dedicate this podcast to hopefully turning that around. Hopefully changing that. Exactly.
How do we do that, Garrett?
Let's look at why do we fail. That's what I want to look at first. Why do we fail? There's several reasons, and it's kind of interesting because the way we fail, of course, is the way we end up turning this around. But first thing is that the New Year's resolutions that many people state are very general. They're very broad. They're unspecific. We typically say, yeah, I want to get healthier this year. That's going to happen. But when faced with birthday parties in March and the overtime in June, here in my hometown, we're faced with shortly thereafter Christmas, the Mardi Gras celebration starts. And I think I've said this in another podcast, but we always have a constant excuse for not making a lifestyle change. Well, the holidays are here. So, got a holiday. I got to get through the holidays and everything, get the kids back in school.
Garrett, it's Mardi Gras.
There you bingo.
I'm not going to not eat moon pies and get drunk at Mardi Gras.
Right. I'm not going to make a major change. We happen to be very close to the waterfront here. We're actually on the water in my hometown. We're very close to the beaches. So when spring comes, man, I'm going to the Gulf. I'm going to go down, this summer. I'm going to be gone so much and everything. And I don't know if I can really commit to doing a kind of a program, whatever, but don't worry. As I've always stated, they say at the beginning of the year is January. I actually say it's September. It's when kids go back into school. The way the year goes is like this. September it begins, because kids go back to school and what have you, and we work pretty good, solid for 9 months, and then right around May, we take a couple of months off, then we start a new year again in September. Yeah. So a lot of people get really dead. I'm in September. It's going to happen. What happens in September?
Garrett, come on. The Georgia game is on, and we had pizza and
Bingo!
Beer, and I'll be there next week to work.
I'm dedicated. Really, it's going to happen, Then we got football season, and football season goes right into hunting season, and then look where we are.
Well, now it's Christmas.
Bingo, the holidays are here again, so there's nothing we can do. So if we start with an unspecific goal, we're not going to get very far. So everything kind of tends to fall by the wayside, especially when you have those built-in quote-unquote excuses. Many times they're just unrealistic. We have people that come in and do a consultation with us, and they get excited, and I appreciate the eagerness, but they want, oh man, let's get started. I'm going to come 5 times a week. I'm going to totally change all my food. I'm going to drink all that water you've been telling me. Whoa. Hang on. Is that really going to happen any day with a why? Is that kind of dedication? Reality sets in, and the idea that that's all you've got to do or that's what you're going to do, it's just unrealistic. Many times they're based on willpower and not systems. They're kind of, we give them lip service. We talk about, gosh, we're going to make these great changes in a certain time or whatever, but there's no checks and balances. There's no way of actually measuring and tracking what we're doing. I want to walk more instead of parking our car 10 minutes away. We say I'm just going to walk more, instead of actually having a plan. If I'm going to park my car in the spot, I'm going to walk more that way. We also say I want to stop messing around and go to sleep earlier. Instead of testing different ways of falling asleep or changing our pattern to make it happen, we just generally say, I'm just going to start sleeping more. Well, with no plan in place. Here's the most haunting part of it all. Failing at our resolutions has implications. We start, believe it or not, because of failing, constantly failing at our resolutions, especially if it's the same resolution every year, we literally begin to distrust ourselves. If you set the same resolution for 5 years and you never follow through, what makes you think it'll be different this year? And this is funny. You know, we talk about these funny things that people give up for land, the funny resolutions that people make. I'm going to stop shooting pink elephants, you know. I'm going to stop drinking beer with my left hand. What makes us say those ridiculous things and actually get away from resolutions is that we just distrust ourselves. We don't want to set ourselves up for failure. That literally happens. That's why I think that number is probably at 60% of people that admit to making resolutions, because I believe a lot of people have just given up on it. Well, of course, being in the fitness business for 28 years now and being a personal trainer, it's something I hear a lot, and it's something we deal with quite a bit, and it's something that we're tasked with in making people or helping people become successful in their New Year's resolutions. Because as opposed to some operations that sell contracts, you know, they love having you come in there hot to trot with all these unrealistic goals and have you sign a contract and commit to them for 2 years to make an automatic debit out of your account whether you show up or not. In our position, we want you to succeed. Well, look at it from our standpoint. That's better for our marketing if you succeed. The other thing is we don't do contracts. So we have to guide people along the way. And so a lot of times it's looking at the ideas that are unrealistic. Even though we want to see them hit those major goals, we want them to systemize it. We want them to break it down. We want them to get it into something that is actually doable, is believable. We call it planning for success, not planning for failure. Oh man, that took me a minute to get my first sip in there. I'm right at 110 ounces already today, which I think is fantastic. Now remember, when you hear that sound, y'all know how I am about water. I talk about it in every single podcast. It's going to come up today. I know I'm really blowing your mind with that one, I'm sure. But every time you hear me take a drink, I want you to take a drink of water and water only, because it will literally change your life. Okay, going back to the New Year's resolutions. I've talked about all the things we do as far as failure is concerned. So how do we succeed? Well, I'm going to get into a systematic program, a systematic way that we use in a minute. But I really want to start off, and I'm going to finish. I'm going to tell you about this book twice. There's a great book. There's several books on creating habits and creating a lifestyle, but there's a great book that teaches you about how to succeed. It gives you a step-by-step, guaranteed to work ever since the 1920s, I believe, when it was written. I have to get my book and actually look, but it's either 20s or 30s when it was written. And if you use this step-by-step process, I guarantee you it works. As I say about our Catalyst program, it works 100% of the time. And that's this book. And don't be thrown by the title. It was written back in a very depressive time. And so money and finances were very important to people. So the name of the book, and I'm sure many of you have heard it. I've read it so many times it's now part of my life. The author is Napoleon Hill. And the name of the book is Think and Grow Rich. I'm sure several of you are not surprised that I've mentioned that book. And forget about the title, Think and Grow Rich, because it's not about money. It can be adapted to any goal, any program you want to be successful with. First chapter of the book teaches you that thoughts are things. You know, a thought is the thing. I really want to make a change. That's the thing. You can take it and run with it. It teaches you how to create desire, how to build that desire and foster that desire with faith. And basically teaches you persistence, how to be very deliberate in your actions and make something come to pass. If you get nothing else from this podcast, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is well worth your time, no matter what you're trying to achieve. Now, of course, I'm talking about fitness and wellness and making a lifestyle change, losing weight, these kind of things, but anything you want to do, that book is fantastic for. Now, we use the system. It's very common. You may have heard it before. I'm going to go through it step by step to show you how successful it is. It's the SMART goal program. It's the be-all, end-all solution to vague goals that get you nowhere. Using the SMART system. Using the SMART system can take you to success. Now, what is SMART? S-M-A-R-T. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-oriented. That's what your resolutions have to have. I'll make it simple for you. If they don't have those, you'll just fail. Might as well set up, I'm not going to shoot pink elephants this year if you don't use the SMART system. It's very simple, but I'm going to go through it line by line to explain what each one of those means. SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-oriented. Okay, specific. What will my goal achieve? What is the precise outcome I'm looking for? In Napoleon Hill's book, he uses the example of money, but it can be anything. It doesn't matter what it is. He talks about Edison's assistant who had a specific goal of working for Thomas Edison, gave up everything, dedicated everything to it, but he had a specific goal, what he wanted to do. He also says if it's gaining money, pick a specific amount, all the way down to the penny, and focus on that. And when we talk to clients, we have clients, I want to generally get in better shape, I want to lose weight or whatever. Okay, specifically. I want to be able to get off the floor. See the difference between that and I just want to get stronger? I want to be able to run a 5K in sub 21, faster than 21 minutes. That's specific. I want to run a 19:59:08 5K. Get specific. And if it's I want to lose weight and people come in and give us outrageous goals, we help them center on, okay, how about 5 pounds? How about 10 pounds? We give them a specific goal. You want to be specific about it. Therefore, it's easier to conceptualize. The idea of I'm just going to get in better shape. What's that? What's better shape? I mean, that's too general. It's too broad. You really don't know where you're headed. So the first thing in the SMART plan is to be specific. Number 2 is measurable. And I talk about this quite often. I talk about measuring and perceiving. There's a huge, huge difference. Over 60% of adults don't drink enough water. There you go, Garrett. I'm talking about water. Can you believe it? 60% of adults don't drink enough water. 70% of children nationwide don't drink enough water. But yet when I ask every client that comes in how much water they drink, guess what their answer is? I drink plenty. Oh, I drink plenty of water. I have yet to meet any of these 60% people in my 28 years of doing this. I have yet to meet those 60%. Why? Why do they think that? I don't think they're lying to me. They're telling me that because they perceive they do. And when I ask them, okay, how much do you drink? The eyes go up and to the right, which means they're guessing. Well, about, let's see. Well, this morning we're not measuring, we're perceiving. If you measure, then you'll know how you accomplish your goal. You'll know if you accomplished your goal. Am I moving towards it? If it's a weight loss goal, measuring yourself on a regular basis. Doesn't have to be every day, but you want to measure it. Therefore, if you lose a half a pound, we do that in our Catalyst program. We actually check in daily, and it doesn't matter if you lose 0.3. You put down there 0.3. You know you're headed towards your goal. You're also more motivated because you can see the changes happen. You also know, of course, if you're going the other direction. So you want a goal that's measurable, something that's measurable. You want to measure it. This is a very obvious one, and this is one we deal with a lot, and that is attainable. Maybe your goal is you do need to lose 50 pounds of fat. Okay. But like, actually, Pablo and I were discussing a minute ago. Pablo, if I got this plan to eat this elephant, man, how should I get going on that?
One bite at a time.
Bingo. Attainable goals. Are there resources I need to achieve the goal? What are those resources? Gym membership, bank account, new clothes, whatever. You want things that are attainable. You want a plan to get there. My first goal towards losing weight is first decide, how am I going to go about it? Am I going to do it through exercise, diet? Am I going to do a combination of both? Am I going to see a trainer? Who's that trainer I'm going to see? These are step-by-step goals to get you to success. And you want to make them attainable. You want to make them small. Break them up into bite-sized chunks. Okay, we got specific, measurable, attainable. The next is relevant. Why am I doing this? We talk about level of wellness because that is what every single one of our trainers on our staff is working towards with every single client, attaining their level of wellness. So when somebody comes in and says, well, I want to get stronger, we want to know why. I think that's a great goal. I'm all for it. I happen to be in that business. I sell that stuff. I'd love to. But it's got to be relevant. So if you make it relevant, I've got a client that wants to get stronger, wants to get in better shape. We found out what's really relevant to him is his golf game. And there's nothing wrong with that because if it drives him to get in shape, fantastic. That's what's relevant. Make my golf game better. We do the same thing with kids. No different. Want to be better on the soccer team? We have plenty of teenagers that just want to look better when they take their shirt off. Men, of course. That's relevant. Okay, we got specific, measurable, attainable, relevant. The next is time-oriented. I love this quote that my business coach gave me a long time ago. A goal without a deadline is a dream. You can dream all day, but you want some time associated with it. You want time associated with your small, specific, measurable, attainable goals. I need to lose 50 pounds. Great. Okay, I tell you what. Let's go after 5 pounds in the first month. How about that? When we find out we did that in 2.5 weeks, great. We reset a next goal. We're going to go for the next 5 in 2.5 weeks. But you want to set a deadline. You want to set those measurable goals up on a deadline. So again, they're not a dream, they're actual goals. We see this in our personal training. We see it, of course, in our Catalyst program. As people start hitting those measurable, attainable, small step goals, they get excited. The next ones come quicker. They start feeling better about themselves. And the better you feel about yourself, the better you're going to do in everything. Period. End of story. Again, why our mission statement is we seek to make people feel better about being themselves. Now, when setting a New Year's resolution, yes, use the SMART system, but when are you going to start planning this New Year's resolution? You're not going to do it on January 1. That's when you want it to happen. Think about it. You're going on a trip, going to Disney World. When are you going to start making that plan? When are you going to start putting that together? Well, you're not going to put it together the day you leave. You're going to start planning that sometimes a month in advance. But let me tell you something that you may not know that this kind of planning actually does for you. There's something very interesting in planning your resolution early. And when I say early, I mean start before Thanksgiving. Start planning it. Don't do it. I'm not telling you have to do it. I'm telling you start planning it. I'm going to make a lifestyle change this year. Great. That's fantastic. That's very general. How are we going to make a lifestyle change? Well, I need to lose some weight. Okay, how much weight do I need to lose? I need to lose about 15 pounds. Okay, we're going to lose 15 pounds. Is it good? Any other goals? Because your general goal was to get in shape. Well, yeah, I'd like to get a little bit stronger. Okay, great. Fantastic. What do you want? I want to be a runner again. I was a runner before. All right, we're starting to track this stuff. We're starting to write it down. We're starting to make a plan. Okay, if I'm going to lose weight, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to contact a trainer. Okay, great. Fantastic. Contacting a trainer. Where's that trainer? Well, of course, at Personal Edge Fitness. I mean, there's only the best. When am I going to contact them? Well, I'm going to go ahead and set up the appointment. I'll go ahead and set the consult. Set the consult for December. Set it for January, whatever. But make that appointment. Make that plan. Start putting that together. And I told you that planning does something for you that you may not think about. Believe it or not, it creates desire. Now we have this, I keep bringing up our Catalyst program because it is our lifestyle change program. And it's amazing, once we get people involved and signed up and ready, they are eager to get started. And they may have been incredibly reluctant to even do this because this is a lifestyle change. It takes some effort. But after they sign up, well, they can't wait. When's the first meeting? Let's go. When are we going to start making a change? You get eager about it. You can do that for yourself. I'm just going to plan it. I'm not going to get started. You start thinking about it. You start planning about it. You start thinking about your success. And when you start envisioning your success, you realize quickly you want it to happen yesterday. Now think about this. Instead of dreading January 1, when I'm going to have to make all those changes and do everything, instead of that, if planning it in advance, starting even before Thanksgiving, if possible, by the end of December, you're actually creating a desire, a want. You can't wait, an anticipation. Just think of what that does to the success of your program. Plus, you've already planned it, so you've already digested that. You've already gotten that in your head, exactly where you're going to go, how you're going to go about this. Instead of starting January 1 when you've got all kinds of things going on. You know, maybe you have kids going back in school. Maybe you're starting school yourself. Maybe you're coming off a break and you got behind so much in work. Oh my gosh, that's the wrong time to start planning. Start planning ahead of time. You will create that desire. I've seen this phenomenon over and over again. I've had clients that actually contacted me in November about maybe we'll do something in January. I tell them, come on in. I'm not going to book you, but come on in. Let's do your consultation. Let's get you started. Let's start building that plan. It doesn't matter if you're going to start in January. Let's start building that plan together. You may not have time to start, but I bet you money you've got time to plan. But that's how you do it. That's how you get going. That's how you see success in a New Year's resolution. Using the SMART method. Remember, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and most important, set a date on that thing. Time-oriented goals. Start the early planning, and it will instill in you a desire to be successful, a desire to go through with your plan, a desire to get started in your plan. And I told you I brought this up at the beginning. I'm going to bring this up at the end, and that is, you really want to know how to succeed? You really want to get going on a good program? You really want to see a step-by-step way of being successful at any goal? I can't recommend anything better than Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. One of the recommendations I would make, get a professional to help you put this plan together. Get somebody that knows how to create a successful weight loss program or lifestyle change. If you need some help on that, please don't hesitate to call us. Contact us to set up that consultation. We would love to help you make your New Year's resolutions successful. We've dedicated our lives to helping you attain your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.